Hey, Lance.
Evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you back to the October 10th, 2018 meeting of the Ascension Parish Zoning Commission. All members, the record will reflect that all members except Mr. Dumas are present tonight. Staff introduction, please.
Jamaica Banker, Zoning Secretary.
Cody Morton, the attorney for the Planning Commission, Zoning Commission, sorry.
Lance Brock, zoning official.
Jerome Fournier, Director of Planning and Development.
All right, item number 3 on the agenda is a motion to accept or decline the minutes and written decisions of the September 12th, 2018 meeting. Do I have a motion on that?
Motion to
By
approve.
Mr. Scheck-Snyder after he gets his microphone in place. Second by Mr. Christie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item number 4 is the chair's comments. Chair has no comments tonight. Item number 5 is public hearing to amend the Ascension Parish Development Code for recommendation for the approval or denial of, or to the Ascension Parish Council of zoning review ID PZ 1771.18, Lot 6A for BMW Prairieville LLC, Martha Wells, located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 73, approximately 900 feet south of Duplessis Road, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from residential medium intensity, RM, to mixed use 2, MU2. Ms. Wells, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. We're interested in rezoning this. Our daughter would like to open a pediatric speech and language disorder clinic. We'll use the existing structure, which is a residential home at this time, which we lease. It's 3,200 total square feet, but in this new project, we would only be using around 2,500, which is the first floor. It will be servicing children with a variation of diagnosis, including but not limited to swallow studies, articulation disorders, development language delays, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, hearing loss, language disorders, stuttering, fluency, and other neurological disorders.
Staff?
Staff recommends to deny the mixed use 2 as requested due to the property being adjacent to residential properties. If she has a use involved or has a use, I guess, an idea, I would suggest that possibly do a spud on the property. That way we can, come back, well, not come back, but that way we can, if they state that that's what they want to do, that can be the condition of the rezone, and then at that place they would be allowed to do that on that property. But it's a more planning involved than just a straight rezone.
All right. We'll go ahead and open a public hearing on this. Mr. Make, has anyone signed up to speak on this issue?
Yes. I guess I have Marcus
Plaisance?
Plaisance.
Mr. Plaisance.
And I did sign up to speak individually as a very near adjacent property owner and on behalf of Renaissance Homeowners Association Incorporated. I will not use 6 minutes. My name is Mark.
You're right.
My name is Marcus Plaisance, and I am the 2018 president of the Renaissance Homeowners Association. I represent 114 homes in a community of over 250 people, including dozens of school-aged children. The home values in our neighborhood range from $320,000 to over $500,000. Our neighborhood has only one entrance and exit, located on Highway 73 next door to the property seeking to be rezoned. In the last year, we have seen an increase in traffic on Highway 73. Almost every morning and evening, from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., and then from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., traffic backs up. In the morning from the interstates past Renaissance neighborhood, and in the evenings all the way from St. John Church to Duplessis Road past our entrance. It often takes between 5 and 10 minutes to be able to turn left out of our neighborhood in the evenings because of backed up traffic. I brought for you an example of a traffic report. There was a wreck last month at the very entrance of our neighborhood. Somebody was trying to get out, and the person who was trying to let him out got rear-ended. That's just one example. Because of the decisions made in the past by this commission and the Parish Council, we now have to contend with Crawfish Aquatics development located directly across Highway 73 from Renaissance. Their only entrance and exit is slightly offset from ours, which prevents left-turning vehicles from exiting both drives at the same time. The curves on Highway 73 in either direction limit the view of traffic from Renaissance's only entrance and exit. The limited view, coupled with the high volume of traffic at peak times coming from Crawfish Aquatics, makes it near impossible to leave our neighborhood. Placing another commercial development within 200 feet of Renaissance Drive and the Crawfish Aquatics development will be problematic at best and deadly at worst. Accidents happen regularly on Highway 73, as I've already referenced. Changing the zoning on proposed Lot 6A will create a nightmare. Vehicles turning left from the development will prevent vehicles turning left from Renaissance from using the center lane. Essentially, people won't be able to enter our neighborhood when vehicles are turning left from the proposed rezoned property. As it is, vehicles leaving Crawfish Aquatics block the exit from Renaissance. 8 of our homes directly border the property at issue, which is now and has always been used as a residential property. Highway 73 cannot support increased traffic from another commercial development in this area. Renaissance is the only subdivision on Highway 73 in this area with one entrance and exit that has to contend with a commercial development directly across the street. Placing another commercial development within 200 feet of our only entrance and exit will be a deadly decision. As some of you are aware, a parish can be liable for damages resulting from a hazardous condition when it has knowledge and fails to act to correct the situation. In this case, we are telling this commission that adding another commercial development, especially a mixed-use 2, to this area of roadway smaller than a football field will create a hazardous condition. You now have actual knowledge. There's been no traffic study. Please make the smart, safe decision to deny this request to rezone Lot 6A. The lives of the residents of Renaissance and others who travel on Highway 73 are in your hands. I'd also like to make 2 procedural notes. Notice is one of the basic tenets of rezoning. There are 2 defects in the notice requirements relative to this hearing. Section 17-2090 of the Development Code, entitled Administrative and Enforcement, sets forth the notice requirements. First, the public notice sign has not been in place for the last several days. I passed today, the sign was not up. As you're aware, 17-2090 T3 requires that the sign be posted at least 10 days in advance of the hearing. That hasn't been met. Second, notification has to be sent via certified mail to adjacent property owners. There are several Renaissance homeowners that have not received any certified notice. Renaissance Homeowners Association Incorporated is an adjacent property owner. I'm the president, I'm the registered agent. I've checked with our community management company. We've received no notice. That's on the form that has to be filled out in order to have a property rezoned. So that hasn't been met. Based on the lack of proper notice, I ask that the variance...
Please hurry up and wrap up.
I'm wrapping up. I ask that the variance be denied. The proposed use can be done under the current RM zoning designation via contract agreement. It doesn't even have to be a SPUD. If you're inclined to approve this proposal, I ask that you deny it as intended and have them resubmit as a rezone under a contract agreement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Blazons. Anyone else?
Yes. David Yoint, the second.
Good evening. Yeah, it's hard to follow that up. I'm one of the residents. I live in the second house on the right when you enter into Renaissance. I work as an architect. My wife is a speech-language pathologist. So I can perfectly understand why somebody would want to start a business, a small business on Highway 73. But given the growth that's already happened and the growth that's going to continue to happen with the new hospital, with the new school, with the dog kennel, dog lodging, the Smart Cube storage unit across from us, Crawfish Aquatics, near Airline, you have more commercial buildings that came up. It's becoming the 3-lane traffic that has a center turn lane is really has become a suicide lane. Should have been made a 4-lane to begin with, if not a 5. And going on the zoning officials' principles that adopted by the council, the top 3 read: number 1, protect public safety and property; number 2, manage growth; and number 3, preserve the rural character of the parish. I think those 3 need to be adhered to when you're talking about where we are in between I-10 and Airline. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
No.
All right, we'll close the public hearing. Staff, can you address the notice issue?
Yes, notice was issued, and I did notice the sign was taken down. I contacted the owner of the property, but the sign was placed there 10 days prior to the meeting.
Any questions or comments? And I'll just say, before we even go down the road, if they redid and submitted a SPUD, that would be something we would decide, and it'd end with us, correct?
Correct. And it would go to the council, but yes.
It'd go to a council even if we approved it
The
To-
SPUD?
Yeah, becomes.
to ratify?
Yes.
Okay. So whatever we do tonight, whether we recommend it or recommend approval or denial, we're not the final word.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments by the commission?
Well, we can no longer do contract agreements, correct? I thought we abandoned.
Correct.
those.
Yeah, that's
what I
been,
abandoned
that's
it.
been taken out of
Just
the
want to
code.
make that clear.
Yeah, well, and the point of the contract agreement was you have to abide by the law. So
Right.
if we do, if the council eventually decides to rezone this, whether it be into MU2 or a SPUD, you're still going to have to meet the traffic impact and all
Right.
those other requirements that are met. So, would
And
you like to address, Ms. Wells, any of the?
Yes, and as far as the amount of traffic it would add, less than 20 a day. I also was very aware of the email that went out to the homeowners association, as one of our good friends lives in there, and there was no one that had any response to it negatively when it was stated what we were going to do. And so, although I appreciate the comments, it's not the collaboration or the thoughts of the total neighborhood.
I'd like to add one thing. The property has two entrances off of 73. There's a big circle drive in the front, and the people that are occupying the home right now, there's a husband and wife, both have automobiles, a mother-in-law has an automobile, and two teenage daughters. There would be less traffic impact with this use than what's currently there now.
How many clinicians will work in the clinic if it's open? Just your daughter?
Probably a total of 3.
And how many patients do they see at a time?
Usually they see 1 at a time, 3 a day.
So 9 patients.
Right.
How many people would be working there other than the clinicians? Like a receptionist or anybody like that?
No, it's appointment only, and she's desiring a home setting because of the type of disorders that these children have. They respond better in a home setting versus a clinic or an office setting.
Couple of more comments and questions. One, when I originally saw that it was BMW Prairieville, I thought maybe y'all were going to be opening a very small car dealership.
That's
so
our
I'm-
initials.
Yeah, well, I figured that out after, but I'm just glad to see that it's not going to be a very small car dealership going on 73 as far as the traffic goes. Do you understand what what they're talking about when they explain the difference between doing a straight rezone to an MU and doing it as a SPUD,
Yeah.
and the reason why that would be preferable?
Well, we're just trying to get it done, so, when these folks' lease is up in the next few months, then we can do what we need to do to the home so she can start her business.
Well, the concern is if it's rezoned to MU, with my concern and what I assume the officials and everyone else is, if it's rezoned to MU and something happens, God forbid, the business fails, or, somebody comes in and says they'll give you $10 million to buy the property because it's zoned MU, they could put anything there that falls within the MU classification. If they redo it as a SPUD, what that means is basically you would, and the parish would come to an agreement as to what would go there. So the clinic, like y'all are talking about, and that would be the only use that could be there. So if something happened, your daughter went out of business, it would revert back to residential. If somebody came in and, wanted to give you $10 million to buy it because they thought it was MU, that couldn't happen because they couldn't put any use there other than the therapy building. And so the concern, I believe, by most of the people against it is just the straight rezone to MU in the middle of all that, what is currently zoned residential, whether it should be is a debate for another time. But what is currently rezoned residential, and you wind up with spot zoning. It's one red splotch in the middle of all the blue on the color-coded map. Whereas if a SPUD, I mean, you're right, that what you're talking about doing is not going to create much traffic issue. I mean, it's still a hazard for people trying to take a left turn out of there on 73, but I mean, that's for everybody who lives on 73. I drive it at least twice a day. I'm very familiar with it.
Well, you see, right now, there's this home, there's a home next to it, and then there's a beauty salon, and then the church. So, I mean, there's a piece of property that's MU2 right next to us.
It's
Well,
non-conforming,
it's-
actually.
But they're not
It's
zoned.
non-conforming right now.
It's zoned residential, it's a non-conforming, existing non-conforming, but
Been
it's
there
it's
for
zoned
years.
residential,
Yeah.
right, and that's
And then
why. it's-
across the street and over is the crawfish
Crawfish Aquatics.
You know, we just trying to help our daughter. I mean, she went to school, she got her master's. She's dedicated to doing this. She used to go all over the Baton Rouge and Ascension Parish to people's homes, doing this. I mean, we worried about her life because of the places she was going. So this gives those people an opportunity to go in a great setting for these children.
Oh, no, and I don't think anybody has a problem with it. How long does the process take to go to a SPUD? To do that procedure,
Procedure is basically the same as a rezone, basically, but when it gets to this point, what happens is that there's more planning involved than this. They would have to show the building, they'd have to put the uses, landscaping. I know there's 2 large oak trees in the front. I know that they probably want to keep those, show that on there, and the parking and those type of things. So there's more planning that's involved with it than just a straight rezone. So once it gets to here, the process is basically the same, or the process or the time frame is about the same as a straight rezone. But it's more on the person that's asking for the SPUD on their end to have more information to submit to this office and to the board.
but y'all would help them with
Yes, sir.
explaining what they
Yes, sir.
need
Yes,
and
yes.
so that they could do that
Yeah, we
timely.
have a checklist and all that, yes, sir.
Would you be willing to withdraw your application and go back to the planning department and try to come back to us as a SPUD?
No, sir.
Okay.
I've already spent this money to go this far, and I don't want to keep investing money. I mean, I
Okay.
think it's something that's worthwhile. It's something the community needs to do. It's needed for the community.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to recommend to the council to deny the
We have a
rezoning
motion to
request.
recommend denial to the council. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Chasson. All in favor of recommending denial?
Aye.
Any in opposition?
Nay.
Nay. Do a roll call vote. Mr. Furman?
Aye.
Mr. Bishop?
Nay.
Mr. Christie?
Nay.
Mr.
It's nay to
No,
the.
it's aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
To recommend denial?
Right.
Mr. Chasson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schexnayder?
Aye.
All right, the chair would vote against the motion to deny. I think this is a worthy project. The motion, however, carries, but this is a decision left to the parish council. So I would get with the council person in that district, who I'm not exactly sure who that is, and lobby the council. But I think it's a good project.
It is.
There's MU, you have crawfish right across the street. There's no reason not to, but the will of the council, the commission is to recommend denial, so. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Make it a SPUD.
making a SPUD. I mean, that's-
All right, item number 5B is zoning review ID PZ 798.18, lot F2 of 22.93 acre, 930 acre tract and tract A1, A2A for Fode Enterprises, located on the south side of Lemonville Cutoff Road, approximately 900 feet east of Louisiana Highway 3120, to amend Ascension Parish zoning map from mixed-use corridor MU to mobile home park/RV park district MHRV. We have anybody here on that?
Yes, it'd be Dickie Escovel and Paul Landry.
Staff?
Staff recommends to accept the mobile home RV park district as requested. The petition's property meets all requirements of the MHRV zoning district.
Go ahead and open a public hearing on this. Mr. Maker, is anyone signed up to speak on this issue?
No.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Any questions, comments, and/or a motion from the,
Just curious, is it going to be a mobile home park or an RV park?
An RV park.
Staff, has this been run by the sheriff and the sheriff's department to make sure they're okay with having such a facility there right next to the prison?
Yes, sir. You can ask Mr. Dickey. I think he spoke to someone at the sheriff's office.
Okay. Sure.
Do y'all have some preliminary designs on how y'all have the park, or, and are y'all aware of the stringent requirements for an RV park?
Russ, we aware.
Okay.
So this will be a place somebody drives their RV in, camps for a weekend or a week or whatever, and then drives it out. There won't be trailers on site.
That is correct.
Are y'all gonna do it like a high-end park, like Reunion Lake, Cajun Palms kind of
No,
deal? or-
it's going to be more towards the workers than it is a reunion park.
I have
So
a
they-
question on this. If
Okay.
we rezone it, and this is for staff or Cody, they can put mobile homes on it, correct?
It depends how they develop it, because they're gonna have to go through the process. So there's different requirements for mobile homes, and there's different requirements for RVs. So if they come in with an RV, those size of lots have to meet those requirements, so
And
it's
same
gonna
for
be an
mobile
RV.
homes?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay. Of course, we have no control over that once we rezone it.
That's correct.
So this is not going to be a recreational park. This is going to be for workers that will live there permanently while they're
That is-
employed in the area.
That is correct. And it'll be, they'll be in RVs, mobile homes. The lots would be too small to put mobile homes on.
Okay.
This is mainly for a lot of the plant traffic. I know that, especially on that side of the
Well,
river,
right.
they've really needed a lot of this.
Well, actually, they're building 3 huge plants, James. All the neighboring parishes are taking advantage of it, and we would like to also in Ascension.
So it's gonna be probably more tow-behinds, fifth wheels than
Yes.
drivable RVs.
That is correct. And I presently own 3 RV parks. I've owned 7 in 6 different parishes. So it's not nothing new to us.
Okay. And Lance, if this does get approved for the rezone, when they go to the actual design of the park, does that then come back to us through planning?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
I'd like to move we approve.
A motion to
Second.
recommend approval by Mr. Furman, a second by Mr. Schexnayder. Before I call for the vote, I will say, if we approve this, there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on, because we were concerned that if we convert the other property to mixed use, well, he might not use it as a clinic. Now we're not concerned, though, that this could not be converted into a mobile home park. So, not that I'm against the mobile home park or the RV park, but I was in favor of that other item that we should have recommended approval for. I make that comment, and I will call for a vote. All in favor of recommending approval?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out tonight. Staff
Thank
report?
y'all very much. Thanks.
Staff report?
Staff report.
Staff report?
No report.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Meeting adjourned.